Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and today I am sharing with you guys 10 tips that will help you improve your watercolor paintings instantly. Now know that my skills are not on expert level in watercolor, but these tips definitely helped me to improve a lot. So let's get into this. Tip number 1 is use the right paper. Now this is a very important one and most basic one, because watercolor doesn't end up being as good as it should be if you don't use watercolor paper. If you use normal paper, then it will easily get damaged due to the water. It will probably buckle too much and even like tear off or something. And a paper that dries the watercolor too quickly is gonna also be very difficult to work with to create wet on wet techniques. So I would suggest buying watercolor paper. The paper that I'm using right now is 300 GSM and cold pressed, but you can also get like a lower quality for like 150 GSM is good enough for painting with watercolor medium. Next step is using tapes or paper clips. Well, the problem with watercolor is that when you put a lot of water on a paper, the paper starts buckling and it rises up in certain places, and then you have to put an extra effort to control the flow of the water in the painting. So to keep the painting flat on the surface, I suggest you either use paper clips or use tape such as washi tape that I have used here to fix your painting at one place so that it doesn't move while you're painting. Tip number 3 is using the right brush. Now this is actually kind of a questionable tip, I would say, because sometimes you do need to use a variety of brushes for the effects that you want, but I would suggest that you should get a round brush, one that can hold a lot of water inside it. That would make it easier for you to carry water to your paper. And yes, you can use flat brushes and stuff, but those are more for washes. If you want the flowy effect of watercolor, then you should use thick round brushes that can hold water. Tip number 4 is the underdrawing. Now there's a problem with watercolor that if you draw something with pencil and use watercolor on top of it, the water locks the graphite of the pencil under the painting. Like the lines will always appear, and so some people prefer to not use underdrawing at all and straight start working with watercolor, but it can be difficult at beginner level to just straight up start painting without any guidelines. So I would suggest that you either use color pencils for the underdrawing, because that has helped me a lot. Like in this painting I also used a red color pencil to do the underdrawing, and if not the color pencil, then you can use any kind of waterproof liner to do the line art, so that it can guide you through the painting process. The 5th tip is to use 2 water cups. Yeah, this was a life-changing tip for me. So instead of using 1 cup of water for your watercolor painting, use 2 cups. One to rinse your brush, which will be the dirty water, and the other one is the water that you will use in the painting. So this will be the cleaner water. This way your painting won't turn out muddy, which happens a lot, and you won't even have to change the water like every 2 minutes. So this is a life-changing tip. And tip number 5 is drying. Now with watercolors we usually work in layers, and the problem with that is that sometimes when the bottom layer is not dry, you can end up reactivating it while working on the top layer. So I would suggest waiting for your painting to dry properly before you start working on another layer. I personally use a hair dryer to quicken the process of drying. Tip number 7 is do not overwork your watercolor. Doesn't matter how good of a paper you are using, if you start putting too much water and rubbing the paper too much with your brush, you will end up damaging the paper and damaging your brush too to a certain extent. So do not overwork. Watercolor is about staining the paper with the pigment, so be gentle with it, like feather touches enough to paint your paper. Tip number 8 is mixing the right colors. This is actually applicable to any medium that you're working with. So make sure you know enough about the color theory to mix the right colors, and always keep a scrap of paper with you where you can put out the colors and see what it looks like before putting it directly on the paper. The 9th tip is using mixed media. Just because you're working with watercolors doesn't mean that you can't use other media to make your painting look better. For example, in this one, for the highlights, I have used acrylic paint, and also to fix certain areas and shade a little bit, I used some color pencils. You are free to use whatever you want. There is no rule to go by. And the last and the most important tip is the 10th tip, which is to be patient. Watercolor needs a lot of patience because of the drying process and also how much time you have to spend on detailing and stuff. So have patience, and yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you like the painting that I did in this one. And yeah, that's about it. I will see you guys next Sunday with another new video. Make sure you give a like to this video, comment down below what other things you want to see me do, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I upload new videos every Sunday. Thanks for watching. Bye.